What is up guys, it's Cal, and if you're unaware, the next WoW expansion was announced, World of Warcraft Battle for Azeroth. Now I already made a video about my first reaction to the expansion. I'm super excited. I mean, we always get excited when these expansions are announced, and I really don't think this one's going to let us down. There seems to be a bunch of amazing things that are packed into this expansion, and in this video I'm going to go over their What's Next panel, where they talked all about the expansion and what it has to offer in a more in-depth analysis, because the opening ceremony they pretty much just mentioned it and then mentioned a few things that would be in it, like level cap increase to 120, sub-races which are actually going to be called allied races, the new continent Kul Tiras Zandalar, all of that. So I'm going to talk about more in-depth into all of these new features that will be in the expansion. So first off, an overview. Kalimdor is going to be controlled by the Horde, and Eastern Kingdom is going to be controlled by the Alliance. I'm really curious as to how this is going to work out, honestly. Because, well, I mean, the Horde actually burns down Teldrassil, so we're not exactly sure what's going to happen to Darnassus in that situation. And in the intro cinematic, if you haven't watched that, I highly recommend watching it. It is very good. The Alliance is infiltrating Lordaeron, or in other words, Undercity. So it seems like the Alliance is destroying that area, whereas the Horde's destroying Teldrassil, Night Elf area. So there's that. There's going to be no immediate external threat. There will be a threat, which I'll talk about at the very end, but it seems like the expansion will be more Alliance versus Horde focused, which is pretty cool. Now let's talk about the capital cities. We have Kul Tiras, which is the Alliance capital. If you don't know what Kul Tiras is, it's the ancient human kingdom. There's a lot of lore surrounding it. Now this is made up of three major regions. There's Terragard Sound, which is the capital of Kul Tiras, and it's actually ran by Catherine Proudmoore, which is Jaina's mother. And this area is more pirate themed. Another area is Drustvar, which is ruled by the House of Waycrest, which supplies arms to Kul Tiras, so like the army. And there's this like more cursed area. And they showed a lot of Worgen architecture when they were showing this place off. And then there's Stormsong Valley, which is ruled by the House of Stormstrong, and that provides ships to Kul Tiras. And the story around this area is that there are dark forces and Quilboars, I guess, that are invading the area. And then the Horde capital, Zandalar, which is an ancient troll empire. There's also a ton of lore surrounding this place as well. This is also made up of three regions, the first one being Zuldazar, which is the capital of Zandalar. It's ruled by King Rastakhan, and in this area there are blood troll invaders, similar to their pirate invaders in Terragard Sound. Another area in this place is Nazmir, which was a lush forest prior to Cataclysm, but then became a swampland after Cataclysm. And this is where there's a ton of blood trolls, probably like their home area. And there's also an ancient Titan facility here, which, I mean, it just contains the key to destroying all of Azeroth, so hopefully that makes you sleep better at night. And then the third area is Vol'dun, which is a giant desert, and just like all giant deserts, used to be a lush forest. And this change was due to old god minions taking over the area. I guess they sweep through the area, and it turned into a desert. There's also a race here, a new race, called the Volpira, which are fox people. Main heroes of this expansion are Thrall, Sylvanas, Anduin, and Jaina. They all play big parts. Now, three of those names probably make sense. Thrall, well, you'll find out. There will be some quest chain or something about why he plays a big part in this expansion. And there will also be an area where you'll explore Vol'jin's storyline. So that's nice. Now for the zone flow, there are 6 zones over 2 continents, as I just explained. You'll level up with your faction zone until 120, and then the rest of them will open up, so that does seem like there will be unique Horde and ally quest scenes, which is just awesome. I've been tired of just doing the exact same quests when I play my Alliance and Horde. And there will be world quests and emissaries that do open up at 120. Now for the allied races, which you might know them as sub-races, but they are officially called allied races. We have the Void Elves, Lightforged Draenei, and Dark Iron Dwarves for Alliance, and then the Nightborn, High Mountain Tauren, and Zandalari Trolls for the Horde. Now these races will be unlocked through quest chains. Buying the expansion will not immediately unlock them, so you gotta actually do some stuff before you unlock them. These allied races do have specific racials to them, but we don't know those racials yet, and they all begin at level 20. And you can race change or boost your allied race if you'd like. Now leveling an allied race to 110 unlocks a heritage armor specific for that allied race, and you can actually transmog that heritage armor on your main no matter the armor type. So if your main is like a human paladin, you can transmog the Nightborn heritage gear to look like your paladin's armor, if that makes sense. And these 6 allied races will be available at launch, and there are more that are being planned. Now for leveling improvements. There's something I want to talk about in the subject before I explain what this means exactly. There were rumors about something like this happening in WoW at some point, and when I originally heard about it, I did not immediately like the change. I just didn't. And what I'm talking about is old world zones just scaling to your level. But when Blizzard talked about it at the panel, it kind of left me at ease. Like, I was okay with it. They explained it in a way that was understandable, and it seems like a good change overall. So with that being said, what this means exactly is that the zones will have level ranges with a cap, and they will scale to your level until that certain cap. So what I mean by that is Westfall, you might be able to quest in it at level 10, whereas you can gain the same experience questing in it at level 30. Or like Burning Steps, where you might be able to quest in it at level 40, and then gain the exact same amount of experience questing in it at level 58, relative to your level, obviously. And there will be a flexible expansion order, so you can quest in Outland or Northrend from 60 to 80, gaining experience. This also applies to dungeons, and this is actually coming out in 7.3.5, so prior to the expansion. Next up, let's talk about the Heart of Azeroth. So, artifact weapons are going to be going bye-bye in the next expansion. How they explain it is that they will be having a proper send-off. So whatever that means, there's probably going to be some quest where we morph our artifact weapons into this Heart of Azeroth artifact. I don't know. But with that being said, we're going to be receiving a new artifact quality medallion called the Heart of Azeroth. Now, Azerite seems to be a new currency, and it will level up the medallion, which will empower your gear. The team has noticed some good things about the artifact weapon leveling system, and some bad things. So they're going to be using that knowledge to make the Heart of Azeroth leveling more exciting. Now for island expeditions. These are going to be kind of similar to Mist to Pandaria scenarios, if you remember those. That's just what it seemed like to me. You'll be exploring uncharted islands across the Great Sea, looking for resources in a 3-player cooperative gameplay. Now the islands change all the time, so if you visit an island that you've been at before, there's a good chance it'll have different stuff. Now they've actually said that this is one of the most replayable experiences ever offered in World of Warcraft. So I'll take their word for that. Hopefully it doesn't let me down. Now the NPCs on this island are going to be using some new AI. They're going to be behaving differently, not like a scripted boss encounter. And there's going to be some PvP mode for these island expeditions. Now for Warfronts, this seemed kind of interesting when they were showing the overview trailer. This is going to have an RTS style gameplay, so it's going to be like Warcraft 3, kind of. They're going to be 20-player cooperative faction raids versus NPC armies, where you'll be able to build structures, research upgrades, and lead troops to victory. Now for the PvP updates, which this does seem like a very PvP-centric expansion because it's Alliance versus Horde. So there are going to be new arenas in Tiergard and Zuldazar. There's going to be a new battleground called Seething Shore. Now this is a land off the coast of Silithus that Azeroth is fighting over. Well, the Horde and Alliance are fighting over. There's going to be Azerite, which is going to be bubbling to the surface. And this battleground is coming out in 7.3.5. So once again, prior to the expansion. And there will also be new PvP brawls, so that's exciting. Now for World PvP, which really hasn't had its rule set changed since 2005. So this is going to be an interesting change. Bear with me here. There's going to no longer be any PvP servers. You can now toggle to be put into a PvP world when you enter a zone, so you'll see other players that have that option toggled on. This is so players who made their characters on PvP servers don't feel trapped because they didn't like PvP servers to begin with. So there's also going to be some bounty hunting and assassination quests with this. And there'll also be bonuses to the playstyle like experience and reputation gains to offset the inefficiency of just killing the opposite faction over and over again. Now for dungeons, there's going to be 10 dungeons at launch. Each faction has separate level up dungeons, but at 120, they'll all be available to you. One of the dungeons is Atal Dazar, which is in Zuldazar. As you can guess, that's going to be a Horde one at the start. It has something to do with it's the Golden Tome of Zandalari Kings. There's going to be undead and undead dinosaurs in there. So that sounds like fun. Another one is Freehold, which is, the more Alliance one. It's going to be in Tiergard Sound, where it's going to be an outlaw hideout, where you'll be going up a cliffside, I think. And now the rest of the dungeons are Toll, Dagor, Waycrest Manor, Shrine of the Storm, Siege of Boralus, Temple of Sethralis, the Underroot, King's Rest, and Kezan. Yep, Kezan is going to be a dungeon. Now for the raids, they've only talked to us about one raid so far, and that's Uldir Halls of Control, which has 8 bosses in it. It's going to be the first raid. They've deemed it the Emerald Nightmare of this expansion, essentially. And in this raid, you'll be facing off against Zandalar's Corruption. And then finally, they left us off by letting us know that before the battle for Azeroth is over, we will be facing Azshara. Yep, Queen Azshara. She's not going to be the immediate threat at the beginning of the expansion, but she might arise towards the later part of the expansion. Kind of like how Garrosh did, you know, in Mists of Pandaria. They said in Mists of Pandaria there would be like no final boss, but Garrosh kind of filled that role towards the end. But yeah, guys, that's it. That's everything we know about the expansion so far. Anything new that comes out in BlizzCon, I will be making a video on it. Subscribe here first if you want to know about that. So if you guys liked the video, you can leave a like on it. You can sub to the channel for more videos like this. And I'll see you guys in the next video.